And my main thing was always to just have a good relationship with that person. Slowly, they recommended me to their friends and family or their neighbors. And just by repetitively going to clean their vehicles, neighbors across the street would start to see, hey, do you have a business card? Yeah, here, let's schedule whenever you come clean theirs, you can come clean mine. Um, and it kind of just evolved from there where I started getting more clients. And my big thing, you talked about just having that foundation of process. I run on the full optimum line and the full optimum way of doing things, pad washer, rinseless, you know it.
Yep.
Um, the consistency of it is what has really helped to maintain a lot of clients, to the point where they'll call me back I have some clients that call me back every 2 weeks, some that are every month, some that are every 3 months, and a couple that are every year. And just maintaining those relationships, always reaching out, sending a reminder text here and there, and always giving the best quality possible is what has allowed me to have a repetitive um, job basically with each one of those clients, repeat business.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the Opti-Coat podcast, where we share stories from detailing professionals and highlight cutting edge products, techniques, and tools that'll help your detailing to accelerate into the future. Wherever you're listening or watching this podcast, please follow, like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Okay, welcome back to the Opti-Coat podcast. Today we've got Jose Gomez visiting from his truck in Maryland, and he runs Crystal Worx Detailing and has for about 8 years now. And we're excited to chat with him about what detailing is like in his area, how he got started into it, and how he got introduced to Optimum, Opti-Coat, and what that looks like for him now, and plenty of other topics. Jose, how's it going today?
Great, it's going great. Very humid outside, but it's good. Great.
Yeah, we caught you in between jobs. You've already got some work in today, so we really appreciate you making the time to do it. And we love to start out almost every podcast with just kind of asking you to dive into how'd you get into detailing and how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit before, but I started detailing professionally, I'd say, about 8 years ago. It was 2017, just before my 17th birthday. I had gotten a new car, and we mentioned it previously. Even earlier than that, I remember just going to car washes with my stepfather. We would clean our old Honda, and I just loved the process, loved the smell of all the chemicals. It's probably not great for your health, but it's a very nostalgic experience. And so when I got my vehicle, you give a teenager a new vehicle, some might want to do crazy stuff with it. For me specifically, my thought process was I have something really expensive under my care now. I need to take care of it. And so that was the entryway or the rabbit hole into detailing. So I started 8 years ago. I have a 2017 Civic. Um, I love that car. It's efficient and it's been really well kept. Uh, it was funny. We were talking about how you guys just recently did the podcast with Levi. Um, and that was kind of the entryway into Optimum products. So when I started detailing, I was using Meguiar's products, specifically their waterless wash and wax, just to maintain my vehicle. And I lived in a townhome at the time, and the townhomes and even apartments that I've lived in the past, they always look down upon you if you want to wash your car or use running water. So that was a big no for me. I needed to find a better way to do it without interfering with those rules. So waterless wash was the clear answer. But it quickly turned to be very expensive. $10 every couple of days to buy a new bottle was not sustainable. So that same year, end of 2018 or 17, I started looking for a better alternative. And after a couple searches on Amazon, I found Optimum No Rinse. Initially used it as a waterless wash, just a stronger dilution. But as I learned and liked the product, I started searching more about it, and that's where I came across Levi's old videos with Ivan LaCroix and the Junkman, and that's kind of where it all started with Optimum. I had the pleasure of meeting Levi a couple years ago when they did their little visit here at East Coast, and we were talking about Optimum in those videos as well. I learned a lot about the Optimum way of doing detailing. I really enjoyed using all the products, and just slowly I started accumulating gallons of this and that, tire gel, car wax, Opti-Seal. And that first year that I started detailing, that would have been 2018. Or sorry, I've got my years mixed up. So 16, at the end of 16 was when I got the vehicle because it's a 17 model. So 2017, I did my first 5 vehicles and I really enjoyed the process. And it just started developing from there like a little snowball. The following year, I did more vehicles. I upgraded some of my tools. Fast forward to the COVID era, a lot of free time on my hands. So I invested a little bit more in some better tools. I started getting into coatings since I have a little bit more time on my hands and it's a deeper process. And we moved up to last year when I officially registered business, got registered as a Opti-Coat installer, and here we are. I recently got truck that I'm now working out of, and it's been a great journey. I know I probably said it a little bit too fast. There's a lot of details in between that we can talk about, but
That's all right.
that's the
Absolutely.
brief history of Crystal Worx Detailing.
That's awesome. How'd you come up with the name?
So initially, probably like many people do, I had just my name. It was like Jose Gomez Detailing, but I wanted to create something that's separate from me, maybe its own little brand. There's videos about analysis over like Apple, for example. Apple isn't necessarily tied to a specific name, but it's its own little thing. Everyone recognizes the logo, and so I just wanted to create something that uh, could be its own thing. So I got rid of name. For me, I would always view a clean vehicle as like a shiny diamond. And so I kind of wanted to do like Diamond Works Detailing, but
Mm-hmm.
someone else in Maryland already had that
A little
name.
overdone. Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew that eventually when I would register a business, I probably wouldn't be able to use that name. So the next closest thing was a Crystal. So Crystal Works, I wanted to do a little
Cool.
play on the works. So instead of a K, I did an X.
I love that. I think names are fun, and you can share more about this later on if you want to. But I remember when we were talking before we hit the record button, you were mentioning. Um, I like how you brought up the name for you is kind of outside of yourself, Crystal Worx, and I know that you are keeping real busy. Yeah, you're doing detailing, and you're also um, a project engineer, and so there's so many things that I'd love to talk about that dynamic with about you. It reminds me of a friend of mine who, in my area, worked at a local coffee shop. He was a manager there, started a interior house cleaning company. And he would do some, and he did that as long as he could with the schedule. And then he started bringing other people on to take on other clients, but he stayed at the coffee shop. And you were mentioning before we hit the record button a little bit about kind of wanting to go into that kind of a mentality. So what does that kind of look like as far as products and tools and having the truck? What does that kind of lend yourself towards as far as, freedom? I know you said you're recently married and you have to make a lot of decisions right now based off of efficiency. So what does that kind of world look like right now as far as where your business is?
Yeah. So I backtrack a little bit. So in the last 7 years, and we talked about this earlier, but I detailed out of my Civic, which you may or may not have seen on the Opti-Coat Facebook group. But I think seeing everyone else on social media with these bigger vehicles and trailers and having XYZ tools, you want to kind of get to that point early on, but at the same time, you're limited by the resources you have. In my case, space was the biggest issue that I had. I couldn't bring my own water or generator, so I would always hook up to other people's homes. Um, and tying that in with just dealing with school, now dealing with my other job, and just running a busy schedule. I've always had this efficient mentality in my mind. I have to create everything to be just grab what I need, put it back, do what I need to do quickly, and move forward. So, Optimum products really fit that bill basically. I was able to just cut all my chemical usage in half. Basically, O&R does the bulk of the work, as you guys know. Um, I guess talking about in general life, now that I have the truck where I can store everything, it's easier for me to just come home, hop into the truck, do what I need to do in the detailing world. And once I come home, or if I have to go to work or something, I can leave the detailing world in the truck and I can do other things. So there's not necessarily a balance, as we were talking about. It's hard to balance work and life sometimes, but there's definitely a separation that I didn't have before, where I was always detailing just out of a pure passion and hobby, versus now I can come back home, detach from detailing for a little bit, focus on family, focus on my other work. Previously I could just focus on school, and I think that's enhanced now that I have this second vehicle as a mobile rig.
Absolutely. And you were mentioning how you did detailing through school to get through it. What did that look like?
Yeah, so specifically through undergrad and grad school, I studied architecture at Maryland. We can briefly talk about my plans on doing a nice car wash thing in the future, but I would always detail on the weekends and whenever I had free time. If I had a class that finished early, I probably pick up a couple jobs here and there throughout the week, and I would use all that to pay for school, specifically grad school. Definitely helped a lot. I was fortunate to have scholarships for undergrad, but for grad school, it's a little bit more expensive. So detailing helped fit that bill as well. The flexibility of it was the best part, where I didn't have to rely on a full-time job with long hours. I could work when I needed to work, study when I needed to study, and it was a good balance.
Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, and I love I know that your effort towards efficiency is making an angelic choir sound in Tug's head, because he's a master of efficiency. So I'm sure Tug's got some things that he's already probably wanted to bring up on the podcast.
Yeah, so well, I'm going to say this first. Jacob, I appreciate you being on the podcast. Um, and I think I mean, I would have to say, obviously, this is the first kind of meeting you. You definitely seem like a different generation of detailers, and I kind of feel like Opti-Coat installers are more of an elite group for the most part. Typically, when somebody lands on Opti-Coat, they might have used this, and this, but they land on Opti-Coat and they go, I'm good now. I don't have to keep looking, right? That's where I got. That's how I kind of came here. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you test and use this and see what works for you, but there does come to a point where, if you go into a repair shop at a dealership, guys are set. Their tools are set. They're not constantly looking for different brands. They might add a different tool that they didn't have, because there's crossover. This tool does this and this and this, but it doesn't do these two things. That tool complements it. And I think Opti-Coat does that. And I think you are what I would say kind of, and obviously I don't know you that well, but I think you are more of a what I think detailers should be, as far as it just seems like you're not that you're set, you have a foundation, you came across Opti-Coat. So I would think, are you the best detail in the world? Is Jacob? Am I? That's really irrelevant. I mean, I think the mindset makes somebody great or exceptional. And I keep hearing this over and over. Being consistent means you're exceptional. Like, you know what I mean? If you detail somebody's car, but you do everything at first, they bring it back in 6 months later, and you leave one thing off. They come back again, you leave two things off. Like, I got to hurry up. You don't wipe the door jambs this time. I don't care how good your skills are. You're not a good that's just not good. I don't care how many scratches you can remove, how much clear coat you can do. Anyway, what I wanted to ask is, do you think somebody that does work another job? Well, let me first ask you this: are you looking to quit your full-time job and then make detailing your part-time job, or is your mindset more of continuing to do both as long as you can?
So we were talking with Jacob earlier. I think during COVID, it really highlighted how detailing it is an industry, while it's flourishing right now, it's not necessarily the most stable industry. Ultimately,
Right.
it's a luxury.
Definitely.
If someone wants to get their car clean, and if it's good enough, they'll go to a car wash. But if they
Right.
really want to get it detailed, they'll reach out to a detailer.
Right.
So
Mhm.
from that point of view, I do enjoy the full-time job, specifically in the construction industry, and in this area, it's a stable job.
Okay.
As long as we're alive, we're going to be building buildings.
Yeah.
Um, from taking into consideration those 2 points, my original goal has always been to, at some point in time, open up a shop. Um, Currently, though, while I handle the other job, what I would like to do is expand in a couple of years. I'm not rushing
Mhm.
it, but to have
Okay.
another mobile rig, have a couple employees, and kind of
Okay.
manage that still from a
Yeah.
part-time point of view, and
Okay.
then just manage it from a business point of view, not
Right.
necessarily the detailer point of view.
Right. Yeah. And like, see that not that I'm certainly not an entrepreneur. I would be considered a solopreneur. It doesn't matter. Dave Ramsey he's $330 million a year he generates, so he can say whatever he wants.
Mhm.
I mean, I personally think that being solo is fine. If you want to be solo, if you want to have employees, everybody has a strong suit. Um, but there's just something that I noticed in you, and like Jacob said, I do like efficiency. You've used the word efficiency, and I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. Those two things are usually the top two sins in detailing. You can't talk about business. It's not a business. I'm a detailer. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's business. That's evil. And then the other one is the efficiency. That means you're cutting corners. Absolutely not. Efficiency makes you better. Uh, if you don't want to take less time, then just spend more time on it. But efficiency allows you to be more thorough and to do a better job. So somehow I knew you were going to say those things. Not really, but I'm not surprised that you did. So how do you find time? I don't know if you have any children or not, but obviously you're married. Find time to work full time and then also work basically full time or part time detailing. How do you find time to like live life?
It's hard at times.
Hmm.
Usually, so what I've done is I'll dedicate Saturdays for detailing, and then during the
Okay.
week I'll do my full-time job. And occasionally, if like a maintenance vehicle pops up and I'm in the area, I'll do that. Occasionally, I've had a couple big details where this is where like having nice lights come in handy. Where I'll do the full detail, and it's 10 p.m., 11 p.m. I'm packing up
Hmm.
my stuff, driving back home and my wife's
Yeah.
calling me, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet?"
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not easy at times,
Yeah.
but thankfully she's been great. She understands,
Okay.
I want to keep building this business. It's flourishing, and the fruits of that flourishing are coming through. And she's been
Yeah.
supportive all the way through it.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think with just the personal life, uh, it can interfere sometimes. For example, I personally love mountain biking, and more recently, especially now that I've started the full-time job, I find harder to do something like that. For example, usually I'll go Saturday with friends, and we'll go do our 10, 20 miles. But
Wow.
most of the weekends I'm out detailing, which I also enjoy, like many other detailers. It's not just the business and the money aspect of it. We enjoy doing it. And I personally enjoy keeping my cars clean. I find it
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
So, on one point of view, it's good that I can do what I like to do. On the other
Yeah.
hand, there's definitely it's definitely a challenge trying to balance those things. And as you mentioned earlier before we
Mm-hmm.
started the podcast, there's no such thing as a work-life balance. It's
Right.
fluctuating a lot.
Right.
So one
Right.
weekend, maybe I don't work and I spend time with my family,
Mm-hmm.
with my wife. Another weekend, I'll schedule a quick ride early in the morning and I'll go do a couple jobs midday to the afternoon.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think one of the things that is it only really makes what you're doing, especially with your schedule, possible is like Tug said, the foundations that you've built. Like you've built a foundation of chemical process, but also you've built a foundation in detailing so that you're not, as detailers, we're always trying to build something, and business owners are always trying to build something, and there's only so much time to build, a given thing. This past week I spent
Mm-hmm.
some time reworking, building my website. Well, I can't do that, every week. Um,
Right.
and so I think that what I love about where you're at with your business is um, you already have, I know how to do this. I know which products I'm going to use. I know, like you talked about having the truck now, and how that has brought your efficiency. You're saving 20, maybe 30 minutes on a detail. So, but one thing I'd love to hear you talk about is how you've been able to um, retain maintenance clients, and how that's worked for you. I know that's a nightmare for some people. That's something I aspire to have, is a good option for maintenance. Right now, I'm really not offering it because, from my perspective, if I don't have if I'm not doing the things on their vehicle, like a full interior ceramic coating and a really solid, ceramic coating option on the outside, then when I go to do a maintenance, well, it might turn into, a lot more work. So can you share a little bit more about kind of the foundation that you have with these maintenance packages, and how that's allowed you to be able to maybe have to spend less time with marketing, spend less time with trying to drum up new business, because that's mental energy, that's it's time. How are you able to make that possible, and have such a good customer base that they trust you to come back time and time again?
Yeah, so pros and cons to it, right? So you mentioned how it's hard for you to not do it if you're not coding and everything. It's the opposite on my end. Sometimes I don't tend to get those jobs, the bigger jobs, just because a lot of it is maintenance, right? So at least, where do I even start? The benefits, or even where I got a lot of these maintenance clients, right? So when I started detailing, like many, started with friends, family, and my main thing was always to just have a good relationship with that person. Slowly, they recommended me to their friends and family or their neighbors. And just by repetitively going to clean their vehicles, neighbors across the street would start to see, hey, do you have a business card? Yeah, here, let's schedule whenever you come clean theirs, you can come clean mine. Um, and it kind of just evolved from there, where I started getting more clients, and my big thing, you talked about just having that foundation of process. I run on the full optimum line and the full optimum way of doing things, pad washer, rinseless, you know
Yep.
it. The consistency of it is what has really helped to maintain a lot of clients, to the point where they'll call me back I have some clients that call me back every 2 weeks, some that are every month, some that are every 3 months, and a couple that are every year. And just maintaining those relationships, always reaching out, sending a reminder text here and there, and always giving the best quality possible is what has allowed me to have a repetitive um, job basically with each one of those clients, repeat business. And it's where it's hard sometimes is scaling. I mentioned, I'm in a really sweet spot right now where I've recently transitioned from just doing this unofficially to now being an official business. I'm keeping track of the financials. I'm starting to really focus on the business aspect of it versus just the detailing aspect of it. Um, it can be hard sometimes trying to upsell your current customer base on something that's better when you see those vehicles multiple times. They're not really going to know the difference, right? So if they're getting their car waxed every month and it looks great, it's really hard to upsell a coating if they're already calling me every time. It's hard to make that jump, right? They're not going to see the value in spending 5 times as much this weekend, and then next 2 weeks I'm out doing a normal service. They won't see that difference, right? But on the other hand, when it comes to just doing the maintenance service and being efficient, I've kind of just taken the approach of if I can save 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on this one specific area, um, then I can maybe not necessarily increase price, but increase revenue by spending less time. And so I've kind of boiled it down to the nitty gritty details of detailing, right? How long does it take me to wash a car? How long does it take me to clean a wheel? How long will it take me if I add the interior barrels? If I pre-spray or if I don't pre-spray? And like I mentioned with the vehicle, setup and tear down time. Where can I save time and be more efficient? And the Optimum line of products have obviously been great. They help and fit that bill when it comes to the wet work, as Doug mentioned earlier. But then just being repetitive and being mindful of the things that I'm doing on a day-to-day job have really helped me analyze where I might be losing time, make a fix in that area, or get a better tool, or just change the process completely and redo it, save a little bit of time, increase revenue, quality remains the same, and they're out calling me back every month. So
Sounds
that's
like you've
kind of
been reading The
the
Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
I haven't read it, but I
You'd
guess
love it. That's awesome. And we were kind of chatting. I think this is before we hit the record button. We were kind of chatting about how we care about the customer, so we become more efficient. Um, but it's funny how little the details of what we're doing matter to like the client customer hearing about like what it's funny how we can say, oh, like I can, clean your barrels, in X amount of time with X product, and that's saving you time and also enhancing the quality of when I come back to maintain it. But it's funny how like what really matters to them is the consistency of you coming back on time and doing it and providing the result. So we live in a funny industry where it's all about the details, but sometimes the details can just become, and the process can become so meant too much, for a
yeah.
customer. Um, because we can do all that work, and the customer rolls up and they go, "Yeah, looks good," grab the keys, and then they're heading
Yeah,
out. So,
it's it's one of the crazy things about that. So I obviously enjoy watching other content. Just to continue education, right? So I am part of IDA. I watch all those seminars. I'll watch a bunch of videos from everyone, and forgot where I was going with this. There's always this big emphasis on details, and you didn't do this, you didn't do that, X, Y, Z. But when you're actually doing this for money and you're building a client relationship with other people, they don't see some of those things. And it's funny just to see people getting roasted online because they didn't do X, Y, Z. Your customer doesn't care about some of the things. Your customer will let you know what they care about. And if you
Hmm.
hit those things, obviously as a detailer, make sure you hit all areas, right? But if you focus on what they want and they're paying you to do it, then everything's good. It's a green light. They're going to keep calling you. They enjoy your work. And it's just catering to each specific client. No client is the same. No vehicle is the same.
Hmm.
Um, that's one of the things that actually hurts efficiency because you have to change
right,
small little things here and there from
Right.
job to job. But
Right.
having a stable foundation where you can do 95% of what that client wants, and then they tell you what that extra 5% is that they want you to spend time on, you're golden.
Hmm. Yeah.
absolutely. Because it might be a small detail, but they might be your client for 5 years
Mhm.
because of that one detail you noticed about their vehicle that is important to them. That's
Ho-
great. What do you think, Tug?
Jose, Jose, you were talking earlier about not getting the bigger jobs. So, and it seems like mobile detailing and fixed shop detailing, it's detailing. It's not the maintenance detailing it's a different skill set. I mean, it's not difficult, just like regular detailing is not difficult. But from my perspective, it's a different skill set. I hate doing maintenance detailing. I used to do it for a while just because, like, oh, let me drum up some different business. Let me get some repeat. Because, like, you're only bringing me your car when it's disgusting. Maybe I'll make more money if I charge, if you bring it in 6 times throughout the year, I can make whatever. That's a stupid, it was a dumb idea. I hate maintenance unless the vehicle is nasty. I don't want it.
Mhm.
It's weird. I enjoy doing a disgusting, I shouldn't say disgusting. It's dirty, a dirty, vehicle inside out. It's 10 years old, rather than a brand new one, because there's nothing to do on a brand new one. I can make it look better, but like, where's the effort here? Where's the work? So maintenance detailing for me it's a different skill set. It seems to be more mobile, and I can't work outside. I can't see anything. I don't think I'd produce as good a result. So it's definitely it's a needed thing, right? Because it's regular. Somebody wants you to come back every 2 weeks. None of my customers do. They don't want to come back every 2 weeks. That's weird. And then you had mentioned not getting the bigger jobs. Do you turn down the bigger jobs, or do they just not come your way?
So I mentioned I'm in a really sweet spot right now. So I am actually
Yeah.
starting to get some of the bigger jobs, which I really
Okay.
like. And just from a business
Okay.
point of view, it's been a big change in terms
Okay.
of just upping prices,
Yeah.
reducing the amount of maintenance or repeat client, and then focusing on those bigger jobs. But
Yeah.
occasionally I'll get the bigger jobs.
Hmm.
I'd say interiors are the ones where I'm slowly turning away the really bad jobs in favor of just
Okay.
doing maintenance. But if it's an
Okay.
exterior, I'll do like the full coating and polish.
Hmm.
It's definitely a harder thing to do outside, but it's not impossible. I always
Right.
read, oh, you
Right.
can't coat outside, you can't paint correct,
Yeah. That's not true.
XYZ. You can do it, but you just have
Hmm.
to implement additional steps,
Yep.
be a little quicker with like
Yep.
leveling the coating. It can be
Hmm.
done. It's just not as easy. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I am in the sweet spot right now where
Okay.
once I registered business and I became a full Opti-Coat installer, I am starting to pick
Hmm.
up additional coding jobs.
Good.
And where I mentioned that it was difficult was it's hard to sell, let's say Opti-Coat Pro, right? It's 2,500 minimum, right? It's hard for me to sell that to the maintenance client that I see every 2 weeks that's paying
Yeah.
like $200,
Right.
and they're gonna keep calling me for God knows how long, hopefully a really long time. But they don't necessarily see that value, right? I do
Mhm.
because I'm cleaning the vehicle. And
Right.
so I'm at the point from the efficiency and business point of view, it's
Mhm.
easier for me to just quickly apply like gloss coat or even ultra shine on that vehicle just to
Right.
make my life easier
Right.
with the maintenance wash and save a little bit of time.
Mhm.
The cost of one of those coatings is irrelevant basically when they've been calling me for X amount of years and they're going to keep
Mhm.
calling me and I have this
Yep.
steady flow of income.
Yeah.
Where it's nicer now is I am starting to get a lot of clients that are interested in the pro grade coatings, Optico Pro, Pro Plus.
Okay.
Actually, one of my newer clients that I started detailing their vehicles last year. I had done paint guard on one of their vehicles. Um, just recently I applied ultra
Mhm.
shine on another vehicle that they bought, and for their
Mhm.
other vehicle they're actually interested in getting Pro 3 on it. And for me,
Nice.
I'm excited because I can use every single tool I have in the
Yep.
truck. I can do the best service that I can possibly offer. um,
Mhm.
and it's just a completely different change of routine, right? I'm used to doing anywhere from 2 to 4 vehicles on a given day. And then in this case, I can now do one vehicle, earn a lot
Mhm.
more for that one
Right.
vehicle,
Oh yeah.
and knock it out in one, maybe
Yep.
2 days, depending on what it's needed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely a new experience. It's
Mhm.
exciting. It can be tiring actually.
Yeah.
Um, with that ultra shine job that I did just a quick one step on it,
Mhm.
coated it, and I also did the interior. So it took me the whole day, but
Yeah.
it was a good job.
Right. Yeah. Do you sell any interior coatings like ICC or OptiGuard?
So I have it marketed um on
Okay.
my website. I have yet to do like the full interior coatings. I
Okay.
have been doing a couple ICCs just as a quick
Okay.
little upgrade. Instead of
Mhm.
Protectant Plus, you want this 2 year coating? Yeah, let's do it.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
that's been a nice little upsell. Same with like a windshield coating. Those have been nice
Okay.
upsells.
Right. Are you finding, do you have more demand for exteriors than interiors or pretty equal?
For coatings, I think more people are asking for the exterior stuff.
Mhm.
At least more recently, a lot of people are showing interest in them, and I'm also obviously marketing it more.
Right.
It's a crazy time that we're in with like vehicles. A lot of people are starting to keep them for longer.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, some people are getting new vehicles past the COVID era, and so they're trying to take better care of them. So I'm getting a
Yep.
lot of new leads for people that
Okay.
really want to just take care of it.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jacob earlier, one of my previous maintenance clients that I detailed their vehicles for a couple years. They recently had a child, and so we stopped the maintenance, but they just started up again. They have a new
Mhm.
vehicle that they want me to coat coming up in a couple weeks or months.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm starting to pick up those bigger end jobs, but
Okay.
a lot of it is still just maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're in a pretty competitive market. I mean, I'm in Hanover. My shop's in Hanover. Um, it's very as soon as you cross Mason Dixon, it's like detailers everywhere, and that's not even counting like mobile. So it's a competitive, high demand. I mean,
Yeah,
people often say like, "Oh man, there's so many, banks." Well, that means there's a lot of banking that people want. So it's a good thing. It's a high demand. It just makes you have to be a little sharper. So since you're growing and getting bigger jobs and you're finding more demand, it means you're doing a lot of things right. And the guys who don't do it right, they might take some work here and there in the beginning, but they'll fade out. They'll fizzle out. They won't really sustain. So it seems like you're doing really really well, which is awesome.
Yeah, love the fact that you are consistently providing what you know you provide, and you're adding on packages that, some of the packages are new to you, so naturally it's going to be new to your clientele. I love that story about the customer saying, hey, just had a kid, we're going to, take a break on getting detailing from you, but they got a new vehicle and you're the first person they call because you've developed that relationship. I think relationships in the detailing community are important. A question that I've been more quick to ask is, hey, do you have a detailer? Because asking like, do you need detailing services? Like, do you need to do this thing for you? I think that's a different expectation from a customer than, hey, I'll be your detailer. You get a new vehicle, you get a new whatever it is, motorcycle, boat. Like I'll be the guy that you can count on. And I think that those relationships can take time, but the more relationships we build, the more credibility. So it's exciting to hear about.
Yeah.
Wanted to have I like where you're at with your business because you can choose to take the jobs that you want, and you can build it how you want with your schedule. And also with these bigger jobs, you already have the maintenance packages kind of figured out. Like for me, I don't have a set recurring group of maintenance clients, whereas you can say, hey, let's get this thing coded, whether or not you would want to say, if we do that, you can get a discount on your maintenance packages, yada yada. That's up to you and your business, what makes sense. But you're able to bring your current clients into another level of excellence, and you're also able to bring on new clients and say, I also offer this, maintenance package. You already have the rig to do it. I was wondering, because you've made posts in the Opti group about the truck that you're sitting in right now, and you've coded different parts of the vehicle with different versions of the different products that we sell for Opti-Coat, 5-year, 7-year, the Pro Plus, Pro 3. You have Ultra Shine on there too. What else do you have on there?
I don't have ultrasound on it just yet. Been busy the last couple of weeks. But I do want to coat half of the hood. So yeah, we'll talk about this. So I have the roof and the hood have Pro 3 on it. The left and right fenders, doors, and half of the bed have Pro Plus, and then the back tailgate and the back half of that bed has just Pro. And so what I'll probably do is do half of the hood. I'll put Ultra Shine on top of it, and I might do a section of Pro and put Ultra Shine on top of it just to see how it plays out with it. But the reason I did that was there's not a lot of videos of optimum coatings on YouTube. And the couple ones that there are, they're always comparing them against other coatings or maybe it's just a specific coating. What I wanted to do is, apart from having my own like banners and stuff on the truck for marketing, I wanted to have different sections with the coating so people can see how they react or differ from each other, right? Obviously, the one characteristic they'll be able to see is just the water behavior. Obviously, coatings aren't just limited to their water behavior. There's the chemical resistance, the durability aspect of it. But them just being able to visually see, hey, this one's good, this one's a lot better, and this one's like a lot better also, but it's going to last a lot longer because it's 4 layers. It helps make it more tangible to see the difference in what it does. And I'm actually planning on, I might even polish a little portion of it just to remove the coating so they could see what uncoated paint looks like. And so
Right.
I'm doing that as like a marketing tool, one for my own customers so they can see what the difference is. And two, just in general, there's not a lot of information sometimes about like optimum coatings, comparing them side by side. And so this would be a great little social media thing for people to see the differences.
Definitely. And you coded that how many weeks ago now?
2 weeks ago, starting from today. So I already did my initial wash on it. Pro Plus and Pro 3 are definitely insane. Pro is good. It will fit the bill for a lot of people, but Pro and
Yep.
Pro 3, at least water behavior. Again, it's not everything, but water behavior is insane on those two.
Yep.
And it's funny because Pro is such an incredible product. It's unbelievable. And then you step it up to Pro Plus and Pro 3. I think that when your customers are able to see that, because you're kind of dealing with a different market, like we've talked about, bridging the gap between detailing customers and then ceramic coating customers, right? You might be able to get a detailing customer up to Ultra Shine, 2 years of protection. Ceramic coating customer, you might, there's such a range, but that's a different bracket of expectation and want from the customer. And it's just funny to hear you say Pro does all right, because Pro does an amazing job, but you're able to show the customer like, yeah, like this is industry standard here. Pro, let me blow your mind. We've got Pro Plus, 2 layers of a coating up to Pro 3, which is 4 layers of a coating. And that's just a world that so many people don't even know exist, especially if they're new to get, wanting to keep their vehicle nice, get a ceramic coating on it. So it's funny to hear, Pro's okay. Because it's better than what most people would ever expect anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the least of Optimum's Pro coatings are better than most, if not all, the best of other coatings. More actives. Silicon carbide, silicon dioxide is shiny and slick. You just can't compete with the durability of silicon carbide.
Yep, longevity. Absolutely.
Yep.
Guys, this has been a blast. Thanks for letting us get to know you better as a detailer. I think that your I don't know if I know I hit it. I said it before we hit the record button, but I don't know if I said it on the podcast. But I think you obviously have a great business sense, like a money sense of, well, this would be great to have. I don't need this right now. And I think that that's one thing we as detailers really struggle with, because when we're trying to build our customers and clients and we're not having success there, we think, oh, well, I need to build something. Let me build up my arsenal of tools, chemicals, products. Right. And I got to have every answer for every person. Like, well, no, maybe you can start with offering what you do have. And like you said, offering the full details and the maintenance packages is where your company has really shined, because that's what you are offering. And you've been able to build more. You use your Civic for forever as your mobile rig, and you've upgraded to a truck. But you waited 8 years to get to that point, because that's what made sense financially. So I think that's really encouraging to detailers who are trying to look a certain way in a market. And it's like, well, you don't necessarily need to look a certain way. You need to provide for your customers and build that relationship. And I think we can all take a lesson away from that. So we really appreciate you sharing your story and sharing your process. I think it's going to be a huge encouragement to a lot of detailers. Is there anything that you're excited about right now? Or I know you just talked about your truck and the Pro coatings. And is there anything else that you were thinking, I'd really love to share this on the podcast before we jump off?
Yeah. Obviously, detailing out of a truck has been a lot easier, and I am starting to get those bigger jobs. I think one of the big things for me right now is stepping back from the detailing mindset and just focusing on the business aspect of it, and just the marketing of it. I've been doing a lot of marketing recently. One of the things that really helped me most recently, I'm not advertising for them or anything, but I have to give credit where credit is due. I've been using You're Able as just a business software management tool. It has a virtual shop. It has you can accept payments through it. But what I really like about it is just being able to see detailing from a business point of view, seeing how much I'm spending on each vehicle, seeing how much time I'm
Mhm.
taking and actually tracking those financials. And I think within the detailing industry, many people might want to just dive into detailing as a whole,
Mhm.
and they don't consider all those little nitty gritty details that are important. They're important to be profitable. And I guess
Yep.
tie that into the whole detailing business. It boils down to efficiency. Um, Someone might want to buy XYZ tool to just test for everything, but I think it's important to have a solid foundation, and being able to track what you're doing on a day-to-day progress will really help in many ways to help you become more efficient, be more profitable, and just be a better detailer overall.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, that's what I would say. That's been a tool that has helped me scale most recently, from just being a weekend detailer to doing this more professionally and just keeping track of what I'm doing and just presenting a professional face to people, when you give a handwritten receipt versus when they get an automatic link or something that has their invoice and all the fine details. It definitely starts to separate you from just the average detailer, like we mentioned,
Right.
that pops up during the summer, versus
Yep.
someone that's more established that they're doing this professional.
Awesome. I know Tug's on that you're able kick
Yeah.
as well, so
Yep.
that's encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, your able is it's definitely a tool, just like a physical tool. I mean, I think CRMs are fantastic of some sort. I know there's some other good ones too. Um, but I agree. I think it does separate um, the weekend part-time guy that's going to go back to college from like this is a career. I mean, this I'm doing this for real. I pay my taxes, income tax, all that stuff. I don't do cash under the table. This is legitimate. I don't cut breaks because you're giving me cash because I report everything. And I think you're able to it's just another stamp on this guy. He's doing it right. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Do you have any last thoughts, Tug?
Um, I think I've spoken all I'm going to speak. This has been enjoyable. I was looking forward to it, and I think you being young, Jose, I think is great. There's a lot of old timers. I'm kind of in the middle. I think I'm not young and I'm not quite the old timer yet. But I think I'm glad you were willing to do the podcast and came on because I think some of the old timers need sometimes a little prodding, a little get out of your comfort zone, focus on the business because this is a business. Don't be afraid to ask for a tip because that's how we say we appreciate someone. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people like, oh no, I don't ask people for tips. I think that's kind of rude. It's not rude, it's business. That's how I say I appreciate it. And detailing is not a tipping, type of business typically, but I don't want to. Me personally, I'm not going to charge them the processing fee. So if you want to pay for it, that if the tip covers that, I'm good with that. But I think you're going to be a good influence on this group, and hopefully you want to come back and do another podcast because we definitely love to have you.
Yeah, that would be great. Honestly, I was excited when I saw the first revived Opti-Coat podcast. I saw the
Yeah.
other ones a couple years
Hmm.
ago, and I'm
Hmm.
happy to be on. I'm happy to do another one, talk
Yeah.
more
Excellent.
business. But yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
Awesome, great. Well, we'll let you get back to it and running and gunning his mobile rig, and looking
Yep,
forward to seeing and hearing more about what's going on with Crystal Worx in Maryland. And we'll talk soon. Thanks for coming on.
will do. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jose.
All right, catch you later.
Bye bye.